Yesterday we took a brief mental tour of the region of the Galilee, ending with Jesus performing his first miracle, or sign, at a wedding in Cana of Galilee. Today we return to Cana, where Jesus performs a second sign, this one more like what we would have expected the first time. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, January 8th, 2026. After the wedding in Cana, John records that Jesus went with his family and stayed for a few days. Then he went to Jerusalem. Now, this should immediately trigger our curiosity. After all, in the other three Gospels, Jesus doesn't go to Jerusalem until the very end of his ministry, when he ultimately meets his death. But in John, Jesus goes to Jerusalem in this, the second chapter. And it is here that John records the cleansing of the temple, not when he arrives on Palm Sunday as the others record. After this, he meets with Nicodemus, who asks him how it is possible to be born again. And Jesus responds with perhaps his most famous words, "For God so loved the world." Next, Jesus heads back north, going through Samaria, where he has the encounter with the Samaritan woman at the well. Then he arrives once again in Galilee and returns to the town of Cana, where he performed his first miracle. That's where we pick up the story, found in John 4, verses 46 through 54. Again, this is a bit long, so bear with me. Then he came again to Cana in Galilee, where he had changed the water into wine. Now, there was a royal official whose son lay ill in Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus had come from Judea to Galilee, he went and begged him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then Jesus said to him, "Unless you see signs and wonders, you will not believe." The official said to him, "Sir, come down before my little boy dies." Jesus said to him, "Go, your son will live." The man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him and started on his way. As he was going down, his slaves met him and told him that his child was alive. So he asked them the hour when he began to recover, and they said to him, "Yesterday at 1 p.m, the fever left him." The father realized that this was the hour when Jesus had said to him, "Your son will live." So he himself believed, along with his whole household. Now, this was the second sign that Jesus did after coming from Judea to Galilee. So this is more like what we'd expect as a miracle. Jesus heals a child. But once again, notice that John doesn't call this a miracle. He calls it a sign, just as he did with the changing of the water into wine. What's the difference? A miracle we usually take to be something that confirms that Jesus is divine. After all, we think, only a divine being could perform a true miracle. In other words, we often assume that a miracle would point to Jesus. But it is clear that John wants us to see something else. Yes, he wants us to see Jesus, but not only Jesus. Remember, a sign points to something else besides itself. Just as a road sign points us to something else, a city, a gas station, a restaurant, so Jesus' signs point to something else, a new reality coming into being before our eyes, yet which is still partially hidden and in the distance. The sign of turning water into wine pointed to Jesus' blood being offered and to the great banquet table, which is heaven. Now, the sign of this healing points to another dimension of this new reality. It points to the new life we have in God's kingdom. The child's sickness is an apt metaphor for life in this world, never quite right, and ultimately leading to death. The healing points to the new life Jesus offers us in the kingdom. But there is yet one more dimension here, one that was hinted at in the first sign in Cana. Just as the disciples believed because of the sign of the wine, now this unnamed ruler and his whole household believe because of this healing. In other words, These signs aren't just neat tricks or marvels to entertain us. They mark a decision point. Do we believe or not? The question is not so much whether we believe in magic or even whether we believe in Jesus. These are understood. No, the real question is whether we trust what Jesus tells us and whether we trust the new reality toward which he points us. This isn't just a question for the people of Jesus' day who witnessed these signs. It's a question we all must answer for ourselves. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.